In the arpeggiator section, we're going to show you everything you need to know to get rhythmical sequences in your music right away. So let's get started. The FM8 comes with many great arpeggiator presets, but it's also very easy to create your own. I'm going to play for a few of my favourites from the library now. Arpeggiation is basically just a rhythmical sequence. The notes you played are based on the keys you hold down on the keyboard. It can also be used for percussive patterns as well. Okay, let's have a look at how you create your own patterns. If I'd like to keep the arpeggiator playing as I'm working on my pattern, I just click down the hold command. You see here in the pattern editor, this is set up to be 16 steps, but I could easily make it a much simpler pattern by just taking down the amount of steps here. Okay, this is going to get a little repetitive, so I'm going to turn it off. Let's look at the basic parameters here. On the on section, this decides which notes are going to be played. The tie section will join the notes together. As you can hear there, the first two notes are tied together. There's also an accent on the first note, which makes the pattern sound more interesting. I'm going to bring it up again to 8 steps. One cool feature of the arpeggiator in FM8 is the randomization. These dice controls here will literally allow you to create a random pattern very easily. I'm going to demonstrate this to show you how cool this is. I'm going to try randomizing the notes first. Sometimes it takes a few tries to get something interesting sounding, but you'll find that you're soon coming up with patterns very easily without knowing anything about the arpeggiator at all. You can randomize all the parameters in this way. Okay, for this sequence, we're going to look at the mode section. This section is set at the moment to wrap, which means that as the pattern goes through one round, it'll wrap around to the next. There are many different options here. You should play with them all to kind of get a feel for what they do. They're also very well documented in the manual. You can change the note length here. And if you'd like to introduce some kind of shuffle or humanization to the groove, just crank up the shuffle command. When velocity is turned on, all the notes that you've played on the MIDI keyboard have different velocities, and they're applied to the arpeggiating pattern. If you'd like to keep the velocity more precise, in other words, have all the notes play the same velocity, just deselect the velocity section here. The FM8 has an internal clock which is always running. If you select key sync, that means that when you start the arpeggiation pattern, it'll always start from step 1. If you don't have key sync selected, the arpeggiator might be in the middle of a sequence as it's playing. This is entirely up to you.